Hi guys, this is Zangiefsgym here, and I'm with Ken on training mode, and I'm gonna do in today's video. This is the second video of how to punish Ken with an SPD. This video I'm gonna show you how to punish Ken's special attack called Tatsumaki, and it's a kick. If you're not familiar with it, it's his spin kick where he launches into the air and does multiple rotations of like 360s bunch of times while he's kicking you, and he pushes you back to the other side of the screen. So how do we punish that with an SPD? So right up front, we're just gonna literally block the entire attack, and when he finishes, we're gonna be ready to nail him with an SPD. So that's enough talk. Let's get started. I'm just gonna first of all restart the battle, refresh it, and I'm going to turn on. I've got it set on recording slot 3 for the Tatsumaki, so I'm going to turn it on and he's going to begin doing it. And so you're going to see me block and counter it with the SPD. So let's get started. 2-second delay. There he goes. And SPD. And it's pretty simple. There's not a lot really. We could talk about more things, but I think right here you can see how relatively simple it is to block this. I gotta like to push it back all the way against the wall. One thing I would say is go for the big SPD, go for the hard punch, okay? Because either way you can land any of the 3 punches, either the light punch, medium punch, or hard punch. But I'm gonna say go with the hard punch. It does the most damage, and the stun is the same across the 3. The only SPD that does higher stun is the EX SPD. That does 300 points of stun damage. So that's going to be the only difference there. You can land with any of them if you've got plenty of EX meter. You know, why not use it? Especially if it's in a fight where you're almost winning anyway. Might as well use that, and maybe you'll finish. Maybe you'll get the stun and then be able to finish it with another SPD. Put that up there. Yeah. So this is it. You can keep blocking and countering with the SPD, or not blocking in my case. And just keep countering with the SPD. So that's pretty much it for countering the Tatsumaki. Now I forgot to mention in the last video I did with how to punish the Shuriken. I forgot to mention, you know, I'm only giving one suggestion here. There's other options available. There's other things that you could do to deal with that attack. There's ways of dashing and maybe blocking part of it initially and then ducking down. There's always other options and suggestions. You can always, like, especially in the Shuriken's case, you know, you can backdash away from Ken when he does it. If you're pretty sure he's about to do another one, based on the way his reputation's going, like he tends to do the Shuriken a lot, you know he's probably going to do it again. You could just backdash away and maybe dash forward, dash back in, and try to land an SPD. But you know, this is just one way of getting the SPD. There are other possibilities available. So just be aware that I'm just covering simply one way of doing it. So again, just to show you again, so I'm just going to hold block the entire time until he's just about done, just about hits the ground. This one you really want to be careful that he's done before you waste your time putting the input in for the SPD, because otherwise you'll do the 360 early, or 270 to 360. You'll do that early, and then you won't even end up being able to land it because, well, he won't end up doing the SPD because you put the input way too early before Ken was done his Tatsumaki attack. So you're not going to end up being able to land it. So just be aware of that. Go ahead and let Ken finish his attack. Once he's done, he hits the ground, and you can definitely get the SPD. Plenty of time to get that in before he recovers. If you are fighting an opponent that seems to be very, very quick, and you're worried that he might possibly counter your SPD, you can always go with the light SPD to be the safest on the counter. Again, that's like if you're really fighting a really sharp Ken, he might immediately like begin a combo or something. So it is always a little risky with the hard punch SPD, just because it does take a little bit longer and the reach isn't quite as good. So if Ken came down from the kick and he just started backing away from you immediately for some reason, maybe just for strategy purposes, you know, you've got a better chance of nailing that light SPD. So I always like to repeat that part. I always like to say that again and again and again, because it really is true. That light SPD is really hard to miss. But just be aware also, if you can land the hard punch SPD, it does more damage. And something else too, if you do the light SPD, when Ken lands, he actually lands farther away from me. If I do the hard punch one, hard punch SPD specifically, Ken will land a little bit closer to me, which makes it easier to dash in and prepare for a setup of what I want to do next. And okay, so if you, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you want to watch more, you can. I'm just gonna give one tip, but if you want to leave, you can. That's how you can punish the Tatsumaki with an SPD. Block the whole thing, and then begin your rotation just before Ken hits the ground. You can tell when he's winding down because he's pretty close to hitting the ground. Go ahead and just input that 360 and get ready to nail the punch button. So just as he's hitting the ground, you're already reaching out to grab him. No way to block that. I'm pretty sure that's unblockable. That's a great way to do it. If you want to continue watching, however, I will add one tip like I did with the last video with the Shuriken. There is a possibility again to set up into a second SPD, and it's done the exact same way. You will block the Tatsumaki in this case. You'll block his special attack, his special kick. You'll block that. When he lands, you'll SPD him, and then you're gonna dash in and be ready. So upon Ken's wake up, you can nail a light SPD. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it so you guys can see that here. There's the SPD counter. I'm going to dash in and get ready for the wake up counter. Wake up SPD. There it is. Now, just know that that wake up SPD, in this case, Ken's wake up, our SPD, his wake up, the SPD there can be countered. He can backdash, or he can do a Shuriken right in our face and hit us. So that's always a 50-50 on that wake up SPD. You're not always going to get that. And again, when I say wake up, I'm not referring to you, Zangief, waking up with an SPD. That's also a possibility, and that's also a gamble as well, because they could counter that. But anyway, in this case, upon Ken's wake up, you can try for that SPD, but it is a gamble. But that's okay, because Zangief's a little bit like that anyway. He's a little bit of a gambly character. I'm kind of copying Stupendous and saying that, because Stupendous is a great Zangief player. Love the guy, absolutely great sportsmanship, great guy. But anyway, he plays Zangief really well, and he always says that this setup into another SPD is always a 50-50 gamble. So my suggestion would be, my personal takeaway would be, if I'm winning the match very strongly and I'm dominating Ken in this case, and he's got like say a third health left, I've really, and I've got most of my health, I don't really have much to lose in that case. Even if he hits me with a strong EX, if I'm winning and I've got most of my life and I'm doing really well, I can take a chance at least once. I can take a chance on trying to nail the SPD upon Ken's wake up. That's just a suggestion. I'm just throwing it out there. You could also keep some distance from him and try to do the running bear grab. Time it right so that as he's getting up, you're grabbing him. And that I've caught a lot of players off guard with that one before, believe me. But I've also missed that and eat the dirt many times too. I've been hit with like an 8-hit combo and lost like a third of my health or more, and really paid dearly for making that mistake. So just be aware, if you try to do the running grapple, running bear grab, that's just as much of a gamble as the SPD. But I do find that some people are a little more surprised by that, because I'm at a range and then next thing you know, I'm running and they're like standing there and they're like, oh man, he's running at me, and I've already grabbed him at that point and slammed him. So no chance for a counterattack on their part. Alright guys, that's going to cover it for this video. I don't want to take up any more time. Please continue to subscribe. Check out my videos. I'll continue to watch, and I'm going to be doing more videos. I've got some more videos coming up with Ken. So thanks for watching. Take care, guys.